On Osrc News at 7, Governor Ayedatiwa dissolves State Executive Council, exempt 2 commissioners. Ondo State Government rallies support for ex-servicemen, provides 35 million naira interest-free loan to dependents of fallen heroes. Federal Government unveils advisory committee on proposed prerogative of mercy. And from the foreign scene, rescue team recovers scores of dead bodies in South Africa illegal mining site.
Hello and thanks for joining us on Osrc News at 7. I am Sahid Arabisala. We begin in Ondo State, where Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa has approved the dissolution of the State Executive Council with immediate effect. However, the governor has exempted 2 members of the cabinet from the dissolution due to the critical nature of their duties. They are the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Dr. Kayode Ajulo, and the Commissioner for Finance, Mrs. Amaomi Isaac. In a statement by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Ebenezer Adeniyo, all the affected cabinet members are to hand over all government properties in their care to the accounting officers of their respective ministries. Governor Ayedatiwa thanked the ESCO members for their service and contributions to the development of Ondo State under his administration and wished them well in their future endeavors. Ondo State Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa says no efforts will be spared towards protecting the state and its people in a bid to promote economic prosperity. Governor Ayedatiwa, the grand finale of the 2025 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration in Akure, the state capital, appealed to well-meaning individuals and corporate bodies to join hands with government to support and promote the welfare of dependents of the heroes past. Ayedatiwa called on political gladiators to eschew violence before, during and after this weekend's local government election, appealed to parents and guardians to caution their words against being used to disrupt the poll. Government House correspondent Wahab Bankole reports.
The first assignment performed by Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa, represented by his deputy Olayide Adelami, on arrival at the government cenotaph in Akure, venue of the event, was to inspect the parade.
This day is to celebrate both the dead and the living heroes.
The governor led other dignitaries to honor the fallen heroes with the laying of wreaths. Governor Ayedatiwa described the event as the highest way of showing respect to the fallen heroes and the living ones who fought gallantly to protect the territorial integrity of the nation. Ayedatiwa, who renewed his commitment to promoting the welfare of dependents of the heroes past, said all hands must be on deck to advance the state at all levels while making life more meaningful for every habitant.
To widows of the fallen heroes, we recognize the challenges you face and the sacrifices you continue to make. We are committed to supporting you, ensuring that you have the resources, opportunities, and recognition you deserve. Your loved ones served with honor, and we have vowed to honor their legacies by standing with you in solidarity, not only with words, but equally through our actions. It is our plan to continually put smiles on the faces of widows and dependents of the fallen heroes without waiting for celebration.
The governor appealed to well-meaning individuals and corporate bodies to join hands with government to support and promote the welfare of dependents of the heroes past, while restating his resolve to improve the living standards of the people. He commended the efforts of all security agencies in the state and appealed to residents to join hands with government to enhance the security architecture of the state, noting the need for peaceful conduct of the local government election this weekend.
I wish to remind you that the local government election will be held in the state on Saturday, 18th January 2025, across the 18 local government areas. I, therefore, wish to charge everyone to be law-abiding before, during, and after the elections. We shall provide a level playing ground for all political parties during the exercise.
The event culminated with the disbursement of interest-free loan to the widows and families and dependents of the heroes past by Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa through the State Microcredit Agency, restating his commitment to the welfare and well-being of the people.
A total sum of 35 million naira interest-free loan was disbursed by the state government. The event also featured a special prayer for the souls of the departed heroes, their families and dependents, as well as the living heroes, just as a moment of silence was observed in honor of the heroes past. The 2025 celebration started with the launch of the emblem appeal, followed by the Jumat service at the Akure Central Mosque and the Thanksgiving service held at the Government House Chapel of Grace in Akure. From the Government Cenotaph in Akure, Wahab Bankole, Osrc News.
Still on the Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration and efforts to succor the families of fallen heroes, the Ondo State government has distributed 35 million naira as an empowerment loan to families of the fallen heroes in the state. This was part of activities to commemorate this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Osrc reporter Zimo Ebiemi provides further details as the report is presented from our studios. All right, we'll bring you that reports in the course of the bulletin. The federal government is set to grant President on the prerogative of mercy, with the Attorney General and of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, as chairman. The committee includes representatives from the Nigeria Police Force, the Nigeria Correctional Service, the Nigeria Human Rights Commission, the Nigeria Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, and the Christian Association of Nigeria, alongside other notable members. Speaking on behalf of the committee, the Attorney General of the Federation noted that the committee's assignments were not to undermine the decision of the courts, but to carry out the duty the Constitution mandates the President. Fagbemi said in carrying out their assignment, the committee members might need to visit correctional facilities across the 6 geopolitical zones before making their recommendations. The last presidential pardon was granted on the former President Muhammadu Buhari in 2020, with a total of 159 convicts receiving clemency. Now let's bring you that report on the disbursement of 35 million naira as an empowerment loan to families of fallen heroes in Ondo State. And this was part of the activities to commemorate this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day. The report.
Armed Forces Remembrance Day is a significant tradition in Nigeria, typically marked on January 15th every year. This ceremony honors the sacrifices of Nigeria's departed heroes who have lost their lives in various military conflicts, including World War I and II, the Nigerian Civil War, and peacekeeping mission operations. To commemorate the day in Ondo State, the state government presented 35 million naira as an empowerment loan to families of the fallen heroes. The beneficiaries of the soft loan thanked the state governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, for the gesture. They said it would go a long way to make ends meet.
They have done more than enough for us because they used to support us in our business. We, the widows from Atari, 32 Atlari Brigade, we want to continue thanking them and be praying for them.
I am very, very happy, very, very glad, because I never expected it.
I appreciate Governor of Ondo State for what they are giving us today.
Chairman of Ondo State Microcredit Agency, Mrs. Adenike Ademujimi, appealed to the families of the fallen heroes to ensure that the interest-free loans are paid as and when due.
Ondo State has been doing it now over 12 years, but Dr. Lucky Aiyedatiwa had voluntarily, in his own volition, in his own magnanimity, increased the facility to 35 million naira this year. We have done the first batch today, and as they submit their list, we continue to empower them.
Their wives should be able to be on their own by starting businesses so that they can support the children that are left behind and also be in the position to impact their society positively.
The chairman, Nigeria Legion Ondo State Council, Colonel Oluapata, also thanked the Ondo State government for the empowerment.
Our governor, Honorable Lucky Aiyedatiwa, I think we are not expecting anything less than what he has done. He has been so supportive, and I want to thank him specifically for the release of 35 million naira for a loan, a free loan to the widows of the fallen heroes. I really appreciate his effort.
The event featured military parade and laying of wreaths for the ex-servicemen.
To the Group Chamber of the National Assembly, the House of Representatives has called for mandatory testing and vaccination against hepatitis for every child under the age of 5 in Nigeria. It also directed the Minister of Health and Social Welfare to ensure that children who test positive for hepatitis receive mandatory treatment. This resolution followed the adoption of a motion sponsored by lawmaker Kwamoti Lahori from Adamawa State during the plenary session, who expressed concern about the prevalence of the disease in Nigeria, noting that children are especially vulnerable to infection, which can be transmitted from mother to child during childbirth through contact with infected blood, unsafe injections, exposure to sharp instruments, or direct contact between infected and uninfected children, particularly those aged 0 to 5 years. He further noted that hepatitis has remained prevalent despite the adoption of the Nigeria Strategic Plan on Immunization and Primary Health Care System Strengthening Policy, which will run from 2018 to $20 billion was estimated for the policy. Consequently, the House directed the Ministry of Information and National Orientation and other relevant agencies to create awareness and promote testing, vaccination and treatment to prevent the spread of viral hepatitis in the country. It also mandated the Committee on Healthcare Services to investigate the alarming rate of viral hepatitis reports within 3 weeks for further legislative action. We're due to take a break on the news at 7. We'll be back with more stories. Stay with us. It's still Osrc News at 7. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us. And on YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel, Osrc TV Ondo. Two more stories now. Climate change has intensified dusty conditions, significantly affecting human health and animal welfare. From early December to late January, Nigeria experiences a dry season that exacerbates these dusty environments, leading to health challenges. During this period, the increased dryness and dust can cause respiratory issues and other health problems for both humans and animals. Abidemi Akinroto in this report highlights the urgent need for awareness and action to mitigate these impacts.
Nigeria is grappling with the severe impact of climate change, which are disrupting the daily lives of its citizens. Rising temperature and extreme weather are damaging infrastructure, straining the economy and threatening human health. Climatologist Ayodeji Oluleye notes that the current weather conditions are a direct result of climate change from previous
very dusty condition. There are little differences from one year to the other, and this is what we call climate variability. Of course, that's what we call climate. Every year cannot be the same, and that is why this year is coming so late in January, something that we are expecting in December. So it's coming so late in January. So this variability, but again, it can also come very early or can be delayed till maybe February or March. If this happens, then we say there is a climate influence of climate change.
He noted the detrimental effect on both human and animals, urging for adaptive measures to cope with the harsh conditions.
Those who are in the agricultural sector, this dust is very rich in mineral, and then as it's coming from the north, it's also depositing on our soil. During the rainy season, when the period of cropping commences, some of this mineral already deposited in our soil, we also give our crop nutrients. That's one advantage of this dust. But when it comes to the animal health or human health, there is no advantage to human health or animal health from this dust.
Medical expert Dr. Thomas Ikubeze warns that the extreme weather poses significant health risks.
Wind, that's quite of the human body that has direct contact with the dust. For instance, we have effect on the eyes, all right? It has effect on the nostrils, on the respiratory system. It has effect on the skin. It has effect on the lips that causes it to become dry. So, and some people that have predisposition to certain conditions like asthma, bronchitis, again, it worsens their condition.
He recommends precautionary strategies, particularly advising parents on how to shield their infants from dust-related hazards.
During Koro, what we call Koro, that's COVID-19 virus spread at that time, people were using this face mask. Virtually everyone you see at that time would put on the face mask. But after COVID-19 went off, people threw away their face mask. Now let me announce to you that make this handy once it's summertime period. Because when you put this on, it prevents the dry wind and those air with the particles in it from getting into your nostrils and your mouth. And of course, also endeavor to put on glasses, whether it's medicated or recommended, the fashion one. And what it does basically is to guide your eyeballs from direct contact with those dry wind that can have irritating effect on the eyes. And then if you have a child who, for instance, has asthma, who, for instance, has bronchitis, what you need to do is to tell the school authority your child has so and so condition. So within this Hamatan period, for instance, that child will not be given tasks that will expose him or her to dust. That child will not be asked to cut grass. That child will not be asked to participate in races that will generate dust and cause inhalation of those that could worsen the condition of that child. Of course, we keep the children warm and ensure that they get protected. So when they're going to school, like I did mention, get them face masks, not for Koro, but this time for Hamatan.
Nutritionist Victor Enijugwa discusses dietary adjustments that can help individuals navigate this challenging period.
There don't be rain, and really is affecting the body. I advise that people take a lot of water. But for adults, So when you are above 50, 60, it's good to take a lot of fruits. But for infants, it's good to take a lot of semi-solid food. We should limit the amount of solid food. Let there be water, maybe like ogi, it could be ogi baba, ogi, fufu, and some other food that are semi-solid should be given to children. All categories of population should be drinking water.
By following these proactive measures, Nigerians can better protect themselves against the adverse effects of climate change, fostering a healthier and more sustainable future. Abidemi Akinrotoye, Osrc News.
The Federal Capital Territory Minister, Nyesom Wike, has directed the establishment of a special task force to dislodge criminal elements hiding in uncompleted structures, abandoned plots of land and buildings across the territory. The Director of the Department of Security Services, FCT Administration, Adamu Gwari, in an interview explained that this measure is aimed at curbing the menace of miscreants vandalizing government assets and infrastructure. He said that the FCT Security Committee had identified uncompleted structures, abandoned plots of land and buildings as some of the hideouts for miscreants. Regarding undeveloped lands, Gwari said that the FCT Administration Land Department is currently conducting a census of all undeveloped plots in the FCT as directed by the minister. He explained that if implemented, this measure would significantly address security concerns related to undeveloped plots, growing bushes, and their use as hideouts by criminals. To the courtroom, where the Federal High Court in Lagos has fixed January 27, 2025 to hear a lawsuit challenging the award of the 15 trillion naira Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway project to Tech Construction Company. Justice Ayowe fixed the hearing date after resolving the issue of appearance for the second defendant and granting an extension of time to parties to enable them to regularize their processes. A former governorship candidate of the African Democratic Congress in Lagos State, Funsho Duarte, had dragged the Attorney General of the Federation, Bureau of Public Procurement and Tech Construction Company before the court over open competitive bidding. Duarte alleged that the Federal Minister of Works violated the Public Procurement Act 2007 by awarding the first two phases of the highway to Tech Construction through a single-source procurement process, bypassing the required open competitive bidding. He claimed that, among other allegations, that the construction began without the required Environmental Impact Assessment, which breaches the Environmental Impact Assessment Act 1992. The Nigerian Communications Commission has authorized telecommunications companies to disconnect the unstructured supplementary service data codes assigned to 9 financial institutions due to unpaid debts. This directive was made in a public notice signed by NCC's Director of Public Affairs, Wiben Mwaka. The telecom regulator said affected banks must settle their outstanding obligations by January 27, 2025, or risk losing access to their USSD codes. According to the Commission, these codes, essential for enabling mobile banking services, could be reassigned to other applicants if the debts remain unresolved. NCC said while other banks have cleared their debts, the total amount initially owed by the financial institutions was reported to exceed 200 billion naira, which have remained unpaid since 2020, indicating a prolonged financial dispute between the banks and telecom operators. Outside Nigeria now, in Stilfontein, South Africa, rescue teams recovered at least 36 bodies from an illegal mine as efforts stretched into a second day. Over 80 miners who had spent months on the ground were brought to the surface and immediately arrested. The rescue operations come amid harrowing video evidence showing dead bodies and starving miners trapped on the ground. Authorities are now investigating the site as they tackle the broader issues of illegal mining in the region. Kemisola Ajamu has more.
One by one, bodies are pulled out of these abandoned mining shafts in Steel Fountain. The South African government has begun rescuing miners, some of them dead, others are alive, but hungry and dehydrated. A professional mine rescue company sent a cage down the shaft to rescue them.
I just wish they can be quicker so that they can save more lives, because what you're looking forward to is like rescuing more lives than like hearing that dead bodies have come out. Like, let them speed up the process. It's long overdue.
Officials here say those rescued will all face illegal mining and immigration charges. Community leaders accuse the police of blocking food and water to the miners in order to force them out.
We can't, at this stage, speculate on whatever have been the cause of death. Remember, apart from the cause of death, it is the timing of death. When did who died?
Dozens more people are believed to be on the ground. Some of the people trapped are South Africans, but many are undocumented foreigners from neighboring countries. Some of the informal miners have been sending letters scribbled on pieces of paper saying that they were dying like fishes in unbearable conditions. The longer it takes to rescue everyone, the higher the death toll could be. Kemisola Ojomo, Osrc News.
Wildfires in Los Angeles have left thousands homeless, intensifying emotional trauma and housing challenges. The rental markets, already tight, now faces surging demand and rising prices, compounding difficulties for displaced residents. Many struggle to process the loss of homes and communities, focusing instead on immediate needs like housing and stability. Victims describe the destruction as more than material, erasing lifetimes of memories and shared experiences. Amidst the ruins, resilience persists, with residents determined to rebuild their lives despite the immense emotional and logistical hurdles. Kulario tells more.
It's gone. What do you do next? How do you cope with the emotional trauma? Can you contemplate rebuilding? That is what Sadat Rapia, an emergency room physician and mother of four, is going through right now.
I can't even deal with the grief of my community lost and my friends dispersed and my house gone. I have to just get some stability for our children and I. And so in my mind, it's house first, talk to the insurance and FEMA, and see where we are.
Even before the disaster, the rental housing market in Los Angeles was extremely tight.
Finding housing has been difficult because so many people are displaced from houses, like 30,000 people have lost and are looking, so the need is so great.
Many fire victims find it too early to fully grapple with emotional state.
No, I can't. So, I'm an ER doctor, did pediatric traumas, and I'm a Navy veteran.